All right, so get ready, because today we are taking a deep dive into the world of Hunter Moore.
Oh, yeah, Hunter Moore.
This guy,
The self-proclaimed professional life ruiner,
right?
if you don't know.
Yeah, the guy who created the infamous revenge porn website, Is Anyone Up?
Is anyone up?
This website,
There was.
this was absolutely wild. And
Um,
this guy was dubbed
and he loved it.
the most hated man on the internet.
Oh, he loved that title.
And today we're going to unpack why.
Yeah.
That is what we are going to do.
Hunter Moore is so interesting because he really kind of walked this line
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
tech savvy
Yeah.
and morally reprehensible. Like you could say he was gifted.
Yeah.
You could say he was a grifter. I
Yeah.
mean, he claimed that Is Anyone Up was initially meant to be a nightlife site,
You're right.
but it quickly devolved into a platform for posting explicit photos without consent,
Without consent.
often with the intent to humiliate or get revenge.
Right. So it's revenge porn.
Classic revenge porn.
It's mind-boggling to me that this website
Yeah.
was attracting 30 million page views a month
Oh, yeah.
and generating somewhere between $8,000 to $13,000 in ad revenue every month.
Oh, yeah. This is back when, like,
Yeah.
those numbers are big.
Huge. Yeah.
Now they're like, whatever.
Right.
But back then,
Back then, that was
30 million page views a month, that's
huge.
a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
And that's where that whole grifter or gifted question comes in.
Right.
Because Moore defended himself by saying he was just a businessman providing a service that people wanted.
Right.
He was like, this is what people want.
Right.
I'm just the guy who figured out how to give it to them.
Yeah. He argued that he even had safeguards in place, like age and IP verification.
Right.
But were these measures truly effective, or was he just trying to create this veneer of legitimacy for a deeply exploitative operation?
How are you really going to verify that
Right.
back then?
Yeah.
Especially,
It's easy to get around.
yeah, I mean, come on.
And the backlash against Moore was swift
Yeah, people were not into this.
and intense.
Oh, no.
I mean, there was even a case where the Florida rock band, like it did remember, refused to play at a festival because of Moore's involvement.
Yeah.
So clearly the public was not buying his just a businessman defense.
No, they saw right through it.
Yeah.
And, the impact of Moore's site on the victims was devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine having your most private images just exposed online. I mean, that would lead to immense emotional distress.
Yeah.
And tragically, some cases were even linked to suicide.
Yeah. It's awful.
So this is where Charlotte Laws enters the story.
Charlotte Laws.
A mother whose daughter was actually featured on Is Anyone Up?
Wow.
Yeah.
So Laws becomes this fierce advocate for the victims.
Yeah, she was not going to take this lying down.
Taking it upon herself to gather evidence and bring Moore down.
Yeah, she went on a crusade.
It's incredible that she managed to collect evidence from over 40 victims,
40 victims.
ultimately leading to an FBI investigation.
Yeah, the FBI got involved.
So Law's efforts were really critical in exposing the true extent of Moore's operation.
Right, because at first it was just like, hey, this is a website where people are posting photos. But
Yeah.
what Laws uncovered
Yeah.
is that it was way more insidious than that.
The FBI investigation revealed something even more sinister.
Yeah.
Moore hadn't just been passively hosting content.
No?
He had actually hired someone to hack into email accounts and steal photos.
This is straight up criminal activity.
This wasn't about providing a platform anymore. This
Yeah.
was a calculated criminal enterprise.
Yeah, he was making money off of other people's pain.
So in 2014, Moore was arrested on charges of conspiracy,
Oh.
unauthorized access to a protected computer,
Yep.
and aggravated identity theft.
The feds were coming after him.
And let's not forget about Moore's accomplice,
Right.
Charles Evans, the hacker, who was caught stealing hundreds of images from women's email accounts.
Yeah, he was the one doing the dirty work.
So both Moore and Evans eventually plead guilty.
Yeah.
Moore received a 2.5-year prison sentence,
Not long enough.
while Evans got 2 years.
Yeah.
Now Moore's been out of prison for a while.
Living his best life.
He even wrote a memoir, which is somewhat ironically titled, Is Anyone Up? The Story of Revenge Porn.
Cashing in on that infamy, I see.
And he's tried his hand at making EDM tracks.
What?
There's even a single out there called Make the Internet Great Again.
Oh, God, no.
It makes you wonder, does he genuinely regret his actions? Or is he still trying to capitalize on the infamy he cultivated?
Yeah, I mean, especially considering he still has a social media presence.
Oh, he's still out there.
He loves the attention.
On the other hand, you have Charlotte Laws, who's still tirelessly fighting against revenge porn.
She's a true hero.
It really begs the question, Did shutting down Moore's website and sending him to prison actually make the internet a safer place?
Right.
Or did he just expose a vulnerability that others would exploit?
That's the question.
We'll delve deeper into that question in just a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how much the internet has changed,
I know, right?
even just in the last decade.
Yeah, it's a completely different landscape.
Back when Is Anyone Up was launched, social media was still relatively new,
Oh, yeah.
and there were hardly any laws about online privacy.
It was the Wild West.
It really was like the Wild West out there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the legal landscape was definitely playing catch-up
Yeah.
to the rapid advancements in technology.
Right.
Revenge porn as a concept was still largely undefined in legal terms.
Right.
Which, allowed someone like Moore to exploit that gray area.
And exploit it.
He did.
Oh, yeah. He took full advantage of it.
He wasn't just passively hosting content. He was actively encouraging people to submit explicit photos of others without their consent.
Right. He was incentivizing it.
He even offered money for the most embarrassing submissions.
Oh, wow.
It's just...
That's just adding insult to injury.
It is.
I mean,
It's just awful.
what's even more disturbing is that he was hiring hackers to steal photos directly from people's email accounts.
Right.
This wasn't about freedom of expression or pushing boundaries.
Right.
This was about deliberately inflicting harm and profiting from it.
Right.
This was straight up malice.
It's hard to fathom the level of betrayal and violation those victims must have felt,
Oh, absolutely.
knowing their intimate moments were stolen and displayed for the world to see without their consent.
It's a complete violation of privacy.
It's just despicable.
And the worst part is once those images were online,
Right.
it was almost impossible to completely remove them.
Right.
The internet never forgets.
The internet never forgets.
And these victims had to live with the fear that those photos could resurface at any moment.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a constant anxiety.
Yeah.
So this is where Charlotte Lawes' story becomes even more remarkable.
Right.
She wasn't just fighting to take down Moore and his website.
Right.
She was fighting for the rights of all victims of revenge porn.
She was.
She was a true advocate.
Yeah.
Lawes was relentless in her pursuit of justice. She understood the power of evidence and meticulously gathered accounts from over 40 victims.
Yeah.
This was crucial in getting the FBI involved and ultimately bringing Moore down.
Wow. It's a true David versus Goliath story.
It really is.
She took on this seemingly untouchable internet kingpin
Yeah.
and won not just for herself, but for countless others who had suffered at his hands.
She's a true hero.
Her impact extends far beyond this case.
Absolutely.
Lawes has been a tireless advocate for legislative change,
Yeah.
pushing for stricter laws against revenge porn at both the state and federal level.
She's really been instrumental in changing the laws.
So while Moore may have initially benefited from the lack of clear laws, Lawes' advocacy helped to close those loopholes
Right?
and make it much harder for others to replicate what he did.
She made a real difference.
Exactly. She truly helped to change the legal landscape surrounding online privacy and helped empower victims to fight back against these types of abuses.
And that's huge.
Okay, so back to Moore.
All right, back to the bad guy.
We talked about his memoir and his foray into EDM music
Oh, yeah, that's right.
after getting out of prison.
The EDM career.
But did he ever actually express any genuine remorse for his actions?
That's debatable.
Right.
Some might see the memoir as an attempt at explaining himself or even seeking redemption.
Yeah.
But the title itself is Anyone Up. The story of revenge porn doesn't exactly scream remorse, does it?
Not really.
And then there's that EDM track, Make the Internet Great Again.
Yeah.
It feels almost tone-deaf considering the immense harm he caused.
Right?
It just makes me question how much he's actually learned from this experience.
It's hard to say for sure what his true intentions are.
Yeah, we can't really get inside his head.
But his post-prison behavior seems to indicate a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And perhaps even a continued desire to provoke.
He seems to love stirring the pot.
And I understand he's remained quite active on social media,
Oh, yeah?
engaging with his critics,
Yeah.
and seemingly relishing the attention, even if it's negative.
He's a classic attention seeker.
So it seems like Moore continues to straddle this line between infamy and notoriety.
He's definitely a complex character.
But shifting gears a bit,
Okay.
what about the bigger picture here?
Yeah.
What lasting impact Is Anyone Up have on society as a whole?
Well, as we discussed, it definitely brought the issue of revenge porn to the forefront
Right.
and highlighted the need for stronger legal protections.
Yeah.
Moore's case, as horrific as it was, served as a catalyst for change.
I imagine it also prompted broader discussions about online privacy,
Oh, absolutely.
cyberbullying,
Yeah.
and the ethical implications of technology.
Right. It really forced us to confront some uncomfortable truths about human nature.
Yeah.
And the darker side of online behavior,
Right.
how easily we can dehumanize others,
Yeah.
seek revenge, and inflict pain, all from behind the anonymity of a screen.
Yeah, it's scary how easy it is to forget that there's a real person on the other side of that screen.
Exactly.
And it also highlighted the importance of individuals like Charlotte Laws who are willing to stand up, fight for what's right, and hold perpetrators accountable.
People like her are essential.
Exactly. Her story shows that even in the face of overwhelming odds, one person can make a difference.
It's inspiring.
So while Hunter Moore may have failed in his twisted attempt to make the internet great again, Charlotte Law's fight for justice continues to have a lasting positive impact on the digital world we live in.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that, we're not powerless in the face of online abuse.
Right.
Individuals can and do make a difference, whether it's by speaking out, advocating for change, or supporting those who are fighting for justice.
Exactly. And, while we've come a long way since the days of Is Anyone Up,
Mm.
the fight for online safety and accountability,
Oh, yeah.
it's far from over.
It's not going away.
Technology is constantly evolving, and with those advancements come new challenges
Yeah,
and opportunities for exploitation.
right. So where do we go from here?
Bro.
What can we as individuals do to make the internet a safer and more ethical space?
I think, it starts with being mindful of our own online behavior.
Right.
We need to think before we post, share, or comment.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in the anonymity and detachment of the internet,
Right.
but we have to remember that our words and actions can have a real impact on others.
It's like that saying, treat others how you want to be treated, but in a digital context.
Exactly.
We need to bring empathy and respect back into our online interactions.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to be proactive about protecting our own privacy and security online.
Right.
Use strong passwords. Be cautious about what information you share and report any suspicious activity.
Right. Little vigilance goes a long way.
Absolutely.
It's almost like we have a collective responsibility to create a culture of online accountability.
I agree.
We can't just rely on laws and platforms to police the internet.
Right? We can't just outsource this.
We have to be active participants in building a safer and more ethical digital world.
We all have a role to play. I completely agree. We need to have open conversations about these issues, educate ourselves and others, and support organizations that are fighting for online safety and victims' rights.
Yeah, it's an ongoing effort.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Hunter Moore and Is Anyone Up?
Yeah,
We're left with a lot to think about.
a lot to unpack.
It's a stark reminder of how technology can be both a powerful tool for connection and a weapon for harm.
It's a double-edged sword.
And it raises some fundamental questions about human nature accountability and the evolving role of technology in our lives.
Big question.
Questions that we all need to grapple with as we navigate this increasingly complex digital landscape.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back next time with another fascinating and perhaps controversial figure.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, stay curious and stay engaged.